Hey guys, it's DC, and welcome to the Soap Sanctuary, where all soap lovers are welcome. I'm joined here today with the one and only Samuel Levon. What's going on,
Hey
Samuel?
guys.
So, if you guys remember, we were on Bostic Enterprises stream last night, and we had such a good time last night. And so, I decided to bring Samuel on to the Soap Sanctuary today. We're going to be talking about past soaps. I do want to know from you, Samuel, which past soap do you think was the best?
Um, are you talking about
Starting
just all out of all of them, that
out of
even
all
what's
of them.
looking today?
Even one's still on today. You can still count those ones too if you want.
Um, the best. Oh God,
It's hard, right?
I, I'm gonna have to say Another World.
All right, tell me why.
Um, and the funny thing is that I didn't grow up watching Another World because we were a CBS family, so watching anything outside of CBS, and then it was hard to watch all the soaps because you had to pick, because some of them are coming on at the same time. Some of them are coming on while the other one is on. So you had the one that you was going to be dedicated to, that's what you was going to watch.
Right,
But
right.
I choose Another World because it was very structured. It was very
Mm.
structured where um the way that it started, from the way that it started, like the Matthews were always a part of the story. The and then you bring in the Coreys. Um and Rachel's character, she was definitely a fixture on that show.
Oh
Like
yeah.
no matter what was going on, it didn't matter who died, who quit, they kept her for the most part intact. They kept her for the most part intact. Um, I think also that motherly dynamic that
Ada
oh
and
my god,
Rachel.
Ada and Rachel had really was like, you really felt like you knew them. Like, I don't think there's been another soap opera that really matched that
Energy.
dynamic. Like, you really thought that they were mother and daughter. Like, that there's nobody else
Oh guys, I think we lost Samuel for a second. Oh, we lost
Oh
him for a
Lord.
second. Oh, you're back. You're kind of back now.
Okay.
You're back. Go ahead. You're saying like no other soap opera duo had that mother and daughter
They don't have
dynamic.
that
You're saying.
mother. Yeah, and I think they also bridge the gap between the wealth and then the not so wealthy. Like, it did a good job at, because the one thing I liked about Ada and Rachel was that even when Rachel had all her riches, Ada was still Ada. You know what I'm
Ada.
saying? Ada was
She
not
kept her
like
in check.
yeah, she was not. She didn't give a damn about Matthew's money. I mean, not Matthew.
The Corys.
The
Max
Corey,
money.
Max money. She didn't care about Max money. And Ada also, she would give Rachel advice, but she never tried to tell Rachel what to do.
Mm, yeah.
I really liked how she was like, "Well, this is my opinion, and I'm sticking by it." But it was never like, Ada was her love was unconditional.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't like, and Ada was just a regular everyday woman. You know what I mean? Like, she just really, you just really feel like you was at home with her. She didn't have all the, you didn't have to perform for her.
Yeah.
It was, it kind of, it really set well with, like, okay, this is how we're going to integrate the poor with the rich, but still make it feel like your home, but still also give you some of what it's like to be rich. Like, even though Rachel married into money, she still has someone that kept her grounded and called her
Right.
out when she was wrong.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing about Rachel too, is that like, because I'm still watching Other Worlds 1981. I was watching 1999, 1990. Now I'm watching 1980. Then now I'm on 1981 on the old clips I got on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And it's so weird how subtle the show was, but yet every scene did so much, right? And so when you talk about the scenes where she would go over Ada's house when she was dealing with Mitch, she was in that love triangle with Mitch and Mac. And she'd go over to Ada's house, and Ada was just like, what are you doing? You don't want to mess with what you got going on with Mac for Mitch. And Ada was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to judge you. This is my take, but you do what you want to do.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
I'm here for you either way. And Ada and Rachel definitely had that staple because you can tell after Mel Mac died, she really became ultimately the head of the household for the Coreys. But then again, they had that dynamic because it was matriarch and patriarch. So they naturally had that dynamic. When you thought of the Coreys, you thought of Rachel. So it was
yes,
secondary just to put her into that role. Because like we had talked about it last night when we talked about Tony DeMira. When I think of DeMera Patriarch, it was always Tony to me. And it's still weird that it's EJ in that role. It's still weird to me. Tony or Andre could have been that role, but it's still weird that's EJ to me. But with Rachel, it was synonymously thought of her with the Coreys, naturally.
I feel like they, in my opinion, when Another World was kind of like on the brink of getting canceled, because it started to, like, the 90s was its weakest point,
Yeah.
the mid 90s. And when it started to get, um when it was on the brink, I feel like they made a mistake trying to make it like Days. And what they should have done, they because they already had crossovers, I kind of feel like they should have somehow incorporated, I don't know, the Bowers, like some Bauer, like somebody that's not on Guiding Light, but is a part of Guiding Light.
In what way?
And so like back in the past, like in the, I want to say the 60s, they had like a I don't know if it was a pastor or something that was on Another World,
Hmm.
and he was a pastor from Guiding Light. So maybe bring like an offspring. And
Hmm.
I really felt like networks kind of missed their mark on, like, even though these soap operas are separate entities, like, Days was never going to like cross over with Young and the Restless.
Yeah.
But I think they did themselves a disservice with the genre, because in the end, y'all are all sharing the same viewers,
That's
or
true. That's really true.
the same type of viewers.
Yeah.
And you got to get off of this whole, you know, well, this is NBC soaps, this is ABC soaps, this is CBS soaps, but they're all struggling to keep viewers, no matter what network they're
Right.
on. So I really felt like, um Another World might have would have lasted if they could have somehow incorporated, maybe As the World Turns, Guiding Light, because they were already sister soaps. So
Yeah.
it would have made sense to keep them in the realm. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
if or try to put Another World on CBS. That would have made
They,
sense too.
they probably would have, but that CBS already had four, and they
I
already
know.
had, yeah. And
I
that's the
mean,
thing too, is like, go ahead.
they could have. They probably could have dropped it down to maybe a 30 minutes. So
That's true. That's true.
they
If
could,
they, if they
cut the cast in half. And I mean, you just would have to if you wanted to let the soap survive. But um, to answer your question, I realized last night I didn't answer your other question,
which one was
and I
that?
apologize. So you asked me two questions last night where you said, who did I think was like the best writer, and then what was my favorite storyline.
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
answer the favorite storyline, and I realized I was like, oh, I didn't answer his question. Um, but do you want me to get into that now, or do you want me to?
Oh, this one right here, up here.
No. Oh, what did they say? What?
They said, "What if the gates is somewhat connected to another world?" That'll be good, right?
Um, I mean, it could be. I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't. I don't put anything out of the realm because I feel like now these soap operas need all the help they can get, whether the soap is defunct or still alive. Um, I'm just feeling like if they wanted to make another world kind of like Days, why not just have a Days character go to
Another
Bay
world.
City?
But
Like
I
you,
guess it was a production company thing probably because it was weird they're on the same network they never crossed, but they crossed on ABC. They weren't the same production company.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't mean that another world has to be like Days. It could have just
Right.
meant, maybe have a doctor go to Bay City helping another doctor.
Right.
You
Something
know,
subtle.
yeah, something subtle, not something like just crazy, outlandish. Like we're not gonna have the devil come into Bay City.
Right.
Like,
What was
what
your
I
favorite
mean?
storyline though? You're about to say that. What was your favorite storyline?
So I was trying to think. I don't think I really have a favorite storyline
Hmm.
because storylines they're all kind of like, they're all kind of sharing the same storylines. Like we've all
Right.
seen a bunch of baby switches, we all seen a bunch of triangles. It's just more about how it's written and how it's set up.
Right.
Um, to be honest, I don't think I have a favorite storyline as much as I have like what's my favorite soap, and everybody knows that's Young and the Restless. But um, if I had to think about what I liked, um, I think I liked whenever Alexandra Spalding would come on the show, and I'm talking about not in the later years. I'm talking about in the
Beverly
80s.
McKenzie.
Yeah, when Beverly McKenzie was playing. Like, to be honest, anything with Beverly McKenzie was good. So when she was on Another World, I used to. Now I will say the dynamic between Mac and what was her character name?
Uh, Isis, not Isis. Something with the I. Corey. Isis Corey. Something like that was her name.
Uh oh my God,
It was something. She was Max sister.
Iris,
Iris Corey. Iris Corey. Iris Corey. There
Iris
it goes.
Corey. The way they that was a strange relationship to me because it didn't come off like that was her
Brother.
father. She was it was more like that's her man. It was like, the way that Rachel and Iris would fight, you would kind of be wondering, like, is he sleeping with Iris? What is happening? Because I felt like Iris could have been fighting more with Ada, but of
Right.
course, I get why they had Iris fighting with Rachel, but and nobody dropped the ball in those storylines back in the day. Like
Right.
everybody showed up and played their part.
Right. Right.
I so I just really thought about it. I think my favorite storyline, if I really, because now that I'm thinking about it and how I go back to always look at the scenes, was when Roger raped Holly,
Hmm.
because it wasn't just about the rape, and I think my thing about it was that um the way Holly handled the rape
Right.
was that she was a victim, but she didn't operate like a typical victim, if that makes sense.
In what way would you
Like,
say?
So she was still scared of Roger, like when he would come around, but she wasn't like not gonna fight him. She wasn't not going to protect herself.
Right.
Like but it was like in a very subtle way. It wasn't like hey, look at me, I'm a strong woman protecting myself. It was like it was almost like I in her in the way that she was acting it, and in the way that she would portray it was more like you can tell she's saying to herself without saying, I can't let him do this to me again.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there was something about how they acted it versus them speaking the words.
Yeah, the subtle nuances we saw back then, the
Yeah,
way they did things, it really, those type of things really told the story a lot on a soap. Like you said, the background music, those subtle things, we would see the characters' expressions. Every soup character used to have a background music. So whenever they come back from the
yeah,
dead, the background music is playing, like you know it's that person they're back, you know?
yeah. And the way that um even though Roger was a bad man, he still had a support system. Like his dad didn't give up on him simply because he did what he did. And I think that's hard for people to understand, but at the end of the day, that was still that man's son.
Son.
I think in the world that we live in today, everybody just expects, you know, people to just give up on their son, their daughter because they did something bad, but they can't just do that. That's still their son. That's still their offspring.
Right, right. I think that's the thing too. Make up a good point is that because when I look at soaps these days, I missed the time when they told realistic storylines. I mean, there was a time in the world, as well terms, they said the F word. And I was like, did they just say that on TV? And I never forget that day. It was like 2006. And he's like, Luke Spencer is a great man and where that rhymes with maggot. I was like, did they just say that on television? And I was like, no way. But it made it real. It made the
Yeah,
storyline very real for me. I'm like, okay, like this is a realistic storyline because as I'm watching it, those subtle things play into how we saw the characters. And I want to really touch on real quick what you said earlier about the crossing with the shows and the networks. I think that would have been a brilliant idea because Sony and Days and Wine are both owned by Sony, like a well
hmm
1%, that 1% the discrepancy thing. And it's like you're right. Why don't they cross? Because if you guys all that's left, you do share the same viewers. What is with this me? You might as well just share what you have left because another world if they were able to do it with Guiding Light and As Well Turns and YNR have crossed. Guiding Light and YNR have crossed. B&B and YNR have crossed. All My Children, General Hospital, Until they've all crossed. And it's like, why not have these crossovers? I mean, they mentioned Cass Winthrop on Days of Our Lives a few months back. I think it was this year, last year, they
exactly.
mentioned him. And I heard that mention. I was like, they just mentioned Cass Winthrop?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, are we
I
about to
mean,
get a cameo or something? But that didn't happen.
yeah, Steven Schnetzer is supposed to come back as Julie's son, though. Yeah, for whenever they do
Doug tribute
um, the tribute to
to Doug,
Doug.
right? Right.
Um, but the thing is, they got to stop waiting until waiting for these soaps to die before they start doing it. It's like although Another World characters came over to Oakdale, it didn't help because if you didn't watch Another World,
You're not
Vicky,
vested in them.
yeah, Vicky and Jake don't mean nothing to them. So they ended up having to kill them off like what a year or two later. So
Yeah.
they were
It was
like,
almost like
we're just
pointless.
yeah. So it was kind of pointless doing it. They should have just made it already a thing before the soap got canceled. But um, I do think Procter and Gamble has some of the best soap operas.
I
Procter
think
and
so too.
Gamble definitely, they the one lit the torch. Um, I I would say my lineup for what was the best, like the Procter and Gamble soaps were, I would say Another World would have to be number one,
Okay.
Guiding Light number two,
Okay.
As the World Turns number three.
Number three. Okay. 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 I actually agree with that. I have to agree with that. I mean, I think classic As Well Turns was probably at its best. And you brought up a good point about soaps waiting till the end, because when I looked at Loving, and because I was looking at the serial killer storylines on soaps, Loving had probably one of the best ones next to the Text Message Killer. If I had to go like a top five of the top five serial killer storylines, it'd have to be Salem Stalker, Text Message Killer, the Loving Murders. I'm trying to think what else. What the other ones they had on the soaps? Um, Geez, the Necktie Killer. That was good, and that was recent with Days.
Mhm.
Um, let's see, there was another one. It was on the Music Box Killer, One Like to Live. I feel like that was decent, and that would be it. And I feel like so going back to Loving. Loving told that story right that there was that cancellation, because now it's like we don't give a damn. Let's just tell the story we want to tell at this point, and that was their best product. And
Yeah.
that's the incentive, that competition aspect of it. So when soaps don't have that, what's the incentive for them to want to tell actually good stories? Because when I watched YNR, I remember I was watching it. What was it? Nick and Sharon and Phyllis and Jack, they kind of just did like a couple swap at that point. And then Drusilla had fallen off the cliff at that point. Shortly after she fell off the cliff, thank goodness they brought her back. I never thought I'd see the day when she'd come back. Even though she came for Kristoff's memorial, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I was shocked when that happened. I was like, what? Like I never saw that coming. Because just a quick aside here, like when we talked about this yesterday, I felt like they've always been trying to recreate that dynamic of Drusilla with the Winters. They're trying to do that with Mamie right now. I see it. It's clear. They tried it with Hillary. They tried it
Yeah.
with every figure, and it hasn't hit yet. And
Yeah.
I wish she didn't sue the network. I mean, I feel like they could have brought her back. They could have maybe brought her back if she didn't sue. Once you do that, you're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. It doesn't hit because I really feel like because they've tried their best to steer so far away from Drusilla's existence
Yeah,
that when they try to bring somebody in to be the matriarch or be this Drusilla role, it's like nobody can be Drusilla but Drusilla.
yeah.
I liked what was her name?
Mamie,
No. The girl that was
Hillary,
the one, Hillary.
Hillary.
I liked Hillary, but Hillary is not Drusilla.
She's not.
Like what people don't understand about when we're invested in characters, we're not invested in just the person. We're invested in their story. Like we saw Drusilla coming from, she's a roundaway girl and not knowing what it was like to have money, scheming to be with her sister's husband, you know, doing all of these things. Lily's paternity, that's not Neil's biological daughter.
Right, right.
We're invested in all of that, and then because I think sometimes these shows get a little bit too petty in how they want to treat actors who bring something to the show. Like, don't get me wrong. Okay, maybe Victoria Rowell and Michelle Stafford didn't get along, but at the end of the day, who gets along with most of us don't get along with people at our jobs.
Yeah,
Majority of us don't. But people watch the show because you got people who like Victoria Rowell, you got people who like Michelle Stafford. And in my opinion, I don't care what anybody says, it helped make the dynamic of them not liking each other even better.
it translated on screen because Drusilla and Phyllis hated each other. It translated on
Right.
screen.
They didn't like each other in real life and they didn't like each other on the show. So it worked.
Right.
I don't want to see I'd rather see two people who don't like each other act in a scene than to see two people who actually like each other trying to pretend like they don't like each other.
Right. And the thing is like it translated on screen so much because Drusilla was Sharon's best friend, which Sharon has not had a best friend since.
Oh my
She was
God. That
she
is
was
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so she was Sharon's best friend. Sharon has not had a best friend since, and I loved it because I remember when they were on the top of the cliff, and Phyllis was like, "I'm calling Jack," and she goes, "Oh no, you're not." She grabbed that phone.
Yes, and that's another thing. Like the friendships, like Sharon's. Let me tell you, Sharon and Drusilla. becoming friends was one of the best things that could have ever happened to Sharon.
It was gold.
And it also was one of the best things that could have happened to Drusilla, because they were like polar opposites in everything. You know what I mean? Like they kind of both came from the same walks of life, but
Yeah.
just different. They're not this. They don't share the same race. They don't share the same experiences, but they understand each other. Like I kind of felt like without them saying it, Sharon understood Drusilla as a black woman. Uh,
Yeah.
Drusilla understood Sharon and her coming from nothing and having to fight her way with Nikki. And I remember when Sharon and Drusilla used to coach each other through like certain things that they were going through. Like Drusilla would be like, "No, girl, go get your man. No, girl, go." She would take the phone and stuff out of Sharon's hand and be like, "Why you calling him? Don't call him. Don't let him know your moves."
Because I felt like Sharon was an optimist. She always wanted to see things optimistically, and Drew was that friend. Like, let me keep it real with you. You don't want to go there with her.
Right,
Drew was
right,
that person, and Drew was always that character amongst the Winners family where she just kind of told it like it was. You know what I mean? She wasn't going to sugarcoat anything, but she did it in like such a very graceful way at the same time because it didn't come off as like a let me tell you something. It was like, let me tell
right.
you something. It was like,
It
I don't,
just
it's
came.
the way they wrote her,
It came off and I don't even think it was so much I don't even think it was so much the way that they wrote her as much as it was Drusilla, Victoria's Raoul's experience as being a black woman. I
Yeah.
think she just knew how to embody, keeping what a black girl would do and how she responds and how she reacts to things, but not making it look
Stereotypical.
stereotypical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't, I don't feel like they wrote in the script. Oh no, you not. They didn't write that. She she put that in there.
She really did. Like because my thing is like when they killed her off, I was like, oh my gosh. And I never forget, 'cause I met Drusilla Rao in person like a month or two after, like a few months after that. I was like 12 at the
Mhm.
time. And she was like telling, and everyone's like, when are you coming back off the cliff? It was at the public library in Philadelphia. And I was like, when are you coming back from off the cliff? And she's like, I don't know, you gotta talk to CBS. She said, so y'all gotta talk to CBS. But it's like, when they wrote her character, you're right, because when they wrote her like that, it was exactly like what a black woman would do, but it wasn't the stereotype, but it didn't feel stereotypical, it just felt natural. You know what I mean? To how the script was and who Drusilla was. And I felt like the when she went off the cliff, the Winners family was never the same because I don't feel like Neil was strong enough to hold them. I hate to say
No,
it.
no, Neil was not the he was the patriarch of the Winters family, but he wasn't the glue.
He wasn't.
It was definitely
He was an Eric Forrester kind of.
yeah. He was the Eric Forrester to Drusilla Stephanie.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
And,
Drusilla and Stephanie were kind of similar to
right,
each other.
right, right. They were like the
When
powerhouses, and the thing is, they didn't. I feel like, and see, this is the thing with like I always joke around because we got the Winners, Hastings, Hamiltons, Chancellors, Johnson, Barbers. They all got different last names.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
first prop right there. Let's start there. There's not even a unison in the last names. How's the
right,
one black family got 5 different last names? Why has it got to be that?
right. And then also, I am not. Listen, this is just me, and I'm just keeping it real.
Go
I
ahead.
don't like Billy being over there at Chancellor Winters. I don't like it at all, and I don't like how. Like, I don't like. I don't always like Devon. I think Devon can be very
Judgmental. Forgot where he came from, where they got him from.
yeah, the way that he talks to Aunt Mamie and the way that they're not calling her Aunt Mamie is bugging me because I'm just like, I don't know not one black family that when somebody comes in, if that's not how you have addressed them their whole life, you're not gonna just start calling her by her first name without
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean? Like you're just not gonna do that. That's not gonna happen. Like
Right. Right.
and this is also one of the reasons why I wanted Audra's. um secret funding person or secret takeover person to be Aunt Mamie, because Aunt Mamie didn't know Tucker's past with Ashley, and you know how she adores the Abbotts, and that
Yeah.
could have been her get back to him, but also it could have been her buying power for Chancellor Winters, and like
Yeah.
just going over Lily and Devon's head and Jill, letting them know like, hey, if you don't do what I say, I'll put a plug on all of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just feel like it's unfair that Billy can come over. Billy was already at Jabot. I
Yeah.
don't like how the the Hamilton Winters situation has to be wrapped up in the Chancellor Abbott type of stuff. That doesn't make sense to me.
Like you want their
That
own
does
having
not
their own
make
standalone thing, kind of.
right. Why is Billy over there and here is Billy with all of his, I want to take this company to the next level, and then he's trying to sweet talk Lily into helping him do it. And it's just kind of, I'm just gonna be
It's the only
honest.
black business we have on the soap too. It's the only black business.
I know.
Is that crazy?
And no, it's not crazy.
Well, yeah,
It's
that part's
not.
not crazy. That part's not crazy.
It
Right,
tracks.
right, right. But
It
at
tracks.
least they gave us something. I feel like because I remember Bright McClure was saying in a magazine like he wishes they could give like that kind of storyline, and they were kind of slowly developing over the years. This is what they're giving us, but it could be a little better in some ways. Go
It
ahead.
can be better. Like I feel like we need to recast Olivia, have Olivia come back.
Yeah, I'm surprised she
Um,
hasn't come back yet out of all this time.
well, I know the original actress. She says she's not coming back. She don't want to come back.
They can
Like
recast her.
that's what I'm saying. They can recast her with the lady that played the lawyer on All My Children.
She played Olivia Fry, right?
I don't know. I don't see. I don't. That might have been her name. I don't know the people on All
She was
My
like the
Children.
social worker kind of that would come in from time to time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She would be perfect. You're right. She'd be perfect. She would be
she
perfect.
had the dreads.
Yes. Yes. She'd be perfect. She would be
I
perfect.
feel like they can make her Olivia. Um,
And then bring Justin over there. That's his family.
yeah, I don't understand. Like, why aren't we using like if they're supposed to be related? Why don't we ever see him interacting with them?
Wait, the actress who played Olivia did go over to B&B a couple years ago, and that's how they made the connection that she was Justin's cousin.
Well, what I'm saying is Justin don't come to Y&R.
Right. Right. Right.
Like we know him to be related to them because of people coming from Y&R to go to B&B. It's not the other way around.
He would have been a good patriarch for them, honestly.
That's my point. That's why he needs to be over there.
He would have been. He would have been perfect for that role. He seemed
Because
like the guy that
I
would
don't
get
I
them
don't
together.
because I don't like seeing black people in roles being a do boy or a do girl
Yeah.
to their like it's like they're supporting like they're playing a magical Negro
Yeah.
role to their white counterpart, and I don't like that.
I mean, imagine if Justin came in as a secret buyer of Chance of Winners, and apparently he came in as a mystery buyer, and he changed the whole name to Barber Inc. or something like that.
Yeah, because
You know what
nobody
I'm
will ever see
saying?
him coming. Like they wouldn't even know who he is because he is cunning, and he already worked for an underhanded man. So why
And
not?
I could see him go to toe to toe with Victor and Jack. I could totally see it.
And
And
it needs
Tucker.
to be and it needs to be somebody younger than them.
Yeah.
Somebody and somebody really rolling in their face. Like, hey, you really never thought that I would be your competition. That's why you're mad about it.
Right.
You would have been okay with me working for you like Neil did. Like they just need to go there.
And then
It
they could
doesn't
recast
mean
Marcus and make him co-CEO of Barber Inc.
yeah, because I just feel like these people are not being used on these shows. It's just I'm just very confused at why we create characters
To not use
on
them.
these shows, and then we just kind of discard them like, they're sour milk, and we don't try and build a character to go forward. Like, we don't really need to do much more with Victor.
Yeah, I feel like his time is up. I feel like give someone else the time to
Like,
shine now.
right. We don't need to do much more with Victor and Jack. Like, we need more of. We need to set up the next generation of people who are going to be fighting each other. Like, in my opinion, I know everybody is like Adam and Kyle should be the ones going at each other. But in my opinion, I think it really should be Victoria versus Kyle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I mean, you can already set the dynamic up to where Claire is already in the space.
Right.
That could set some tension between Claire, and because I feel like Victoria and Claire can have their own issues outside of this whole Jordan thing.
I agree. I agree.
Like there needs to be a setup for um and maybe not wanting, maybe Kyle is her love interest, but Victoria doesn't want her with Kyle.
Right.
Kind of do the same thing that Victor did to her.
You know what she could be? You know what she could be? Remind me of how Alexandra was with Lou Jack and Nick, if you remember. How she was
Yeah,
very overprotective with him and with Mindy. So she would be like she would be Alexandra Spalding to Claire's Lou Jack slash
yeah,
Nick.
and we gotta, like, I think they want to write Victoria as like this golden child, but we can really just make Victoria a pseudo villain.
Yeah.
Because I mean, damn, she treat everybody like shit anyway.
Yeah.
Like, she
Yeah.
just kind of just, there ain't no point in like holding her back to make her be like the golden child. Like, I feel like at this point, Victor, I'm not saying I don't want Victor and Jack on the show. What I'm saying is they can be more like, you know, ad- advisors, not like not the people doing the stuff. Like,
Not
just have like,
advisors.
and what I mean by that is, if it's not like Victoria goes into her dad everything, right? She doesn't
Right.
say, like, I'm gonna crush Kyle. She could just be like, it just have like Victor just find out, and he just, he's reading his newspaper, and she's like, "Hey, Dad," and he's like, "How are you doing? Are you crushing Kyle enough?" You know what I mean? Just have him
Right.
or just like him and Nikki is out to dinner, and they pass Jack and Diane, and have Jack or Victor say to each other, you know, "Yeah, we're having a good day, but you're not going to be having one soon."
Right.
Just giving them the words, but not the actions. Like, they don't need to be doing all of this anymore. This
Right.
really, like, this thing with Ashley and her DID,
Terrible storyline, by the way. But go
still
ahead.
terrible. Now, I will give Eileen Davidson is acting her ass off.
Right.
She's doing her thing, but the problem is that I hate Josh Griffith, because what you are doing, you are using her likeness as playing all of those different characters that she did on Days as a way to bring it to YNR, but it's not YNR. That's not her character. That's not what she does. That's not who Ashley is.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of scared that they're gonna try and set it up like John raped Ashley.
Oh
And I
God, I hope
don't want
not.
I
I
don't
hope
want
not.
that, because they're like, because I just saw, I don't think anybody cares about what happens next, but I just watched how on, I think in Canada they have
Yeah,
like the
put it on
Monday
Monday. They put
episode.
Mondays. Yeah, Monday's episode.
Yeah, so I watched Monday's episode, and the therapist is like, something happened to her as a child, and I was just like, oh my god, don't tell me.
Please don't.
I don't. We're not gonna do this. We're
Only
not.
One Life
We're
to Live
not.
did this best. I want Soap to stop doing this. Only One Life to Live did it best. Just stop. It's not gonna work for you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, like that DID crap. That's for Vicky.
Right.
That's Vicky Lord all day. That's
Right.
nobody else. That is nobody else. I
Right.
would much. I think at this point, when it came to Ashley, I would have rather her have a doppelganger than to watch my beloved Ashley sit up here and play Mrs. Abbott and Abby and whatever the hell else. All
I
the
can't even take the storyline seriously, honestly. Like this whole
because it's
multiple
not
thing,
serious.
it's not like I feel like and here's the thing, I feel like YNR has never done something like this. Like YNR and B&B, they don't do serial killer storyline. That's not their thing. I mean, even Brad Bell said that's a General Hospital thing. He says we don't do gunshots at B&B. We didn't put that in the magazine back in the day. But
No,
the thing is like I would like to see, you know, because this is the thing I'm missing from my soaps. I'm missing feeling connected to the characters like I used to when I used to watch all my children. I'm missing that connection, right? Because the way they're writing some of these characters are kind of like almost comical. Now, I will say there are some things that I feel like Weiner has gotten right. Making Diane the Mrs. Jack Abbott, she's the only person I feel like that fits her role perfectly. Phyllis did not, Sharon did not, all the others did not. I feel like she fits it perfectly. And I also feel like one of the things they got right is trying to make Mamie kind of like a matriarch for the winners, Hastings, Barbers, Johnsons, Chancellor, Hamilton Clan. I got
yeah,
to do that
yeah,
for emphasis,
yeah.
because they were missing that. But this storyline, I'm just like, oh God, I don't want to see it. I mean, the last good storyline the Abbots had as a family were when Dina came back. When Dina came back and she had the Alzheimer's. And then I remember for a split moment, we thought Jack was Victor's son, when Ash did the thing to get back at Jack, which I thought that was brilliant. But this storyline is not working for the Abbots, though.
Yeah. I, I'm. I feel like the one thing that might have could have worked is if Jordan was like brainwashing Ashley, like to get back, like to have the Abbots preoccupied with Ashley, that they didn't know what was going on with Claire and Kyle's son.
Hmm.
That like they have her like using Ashley as a pawn to help her. You know what I mean? Do her dirty work.
I got a quick question for you, really quick.
Mhm.
Since you brought that up, just remind me before I forget. What did you think of seeing uh, Joshua Lewis on The Young and the Restless, aka Ashton Locke?
Oh, um, I really didn't think much of it because I guess it's hard to like see. Like we know what you're doing. You want to use people from soap operas from the same network and trying to like bring them in. Like I didn't think he did bad, but it was just kind of like I think Josh Griffith has this obsession with bringing old white men in and making them villains and like all this stunt casting with old white men. I'm just like, why didn't we just invest in Ashton Locke? Like why like and then you brought Tucker. It's like in my
From One
opinion,
Life to Live, right? The guy from One Life to Live, Trevor
right.
St. John.
Yeah, you brought Jeremy Stark. Jeremy that was the guy from Passions.
Passions, yeah.
Then you brought uh I can't is it Ashland or Ashton?
Ashland.
I always felt like at first when he came on, it was Ashton.
No, it's Ashland. And the first
Okay.
Ashland Locke was the guy who played Dylan Quartermain's father, the serial
Yeah,
killer on
yeah,
General Hospital.
yeah.
So, right.
So you bring in Ashland, then you bring Jeremy Stark, then you bring Tucker. These characters kind of all were the same people.
Mm-hmm.
They were the same type of character. In my opinion, why didn't you just bring Tucker back all together? That way we didn't have to go down this rabbit hole of stupid stuff, like one thing after another. They could have put Tucker and Phyllis together because Phyllis needs Phyllis is probably one of my favorite characters to hate. But Phyllis needs somebody to um Phyllis
Balance her out, maybe.
huh?
To maybe balance her out. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, like she needs somebody that can just deal with her as she is. Because her being with Jack, her being with Nick, they don't want her to always give off this fiery attitude all the time. Just let her be with somebody who just deal with her as she is.
Was
Like
that
I
Ronan
don't,
Malloy? Maybe.
huh?
Was that Ronan Malloy?
No, I don't want him. I don't want any. I don't want any of Nina's children messing around with Phyllis. I want Phyllis to have her own man. I want him to only adore Phyllis. I don't want him messing with nobody else because I don't like Phyllis arguing with other women about a man. It's getting old. Like she as much as I like to see Phyllis look dumb, I did not really like it when she's going after Christine and it's like, oh what, he canceled on you? Yeah, Danny sauce. All this old foolishness. I'm just like, it's her Vixen days are over.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that she can't play Vixen. What I'm saying is this what is he saying? So
He
basically, if a
says,
white man over the age of 50 comes to Joseph, we know he's gonna be a problem. That's exactly what I'm saying.
but you know the thing about YNR though, I have to say though, you made a good point earlier about that next generation thing because I feel like when certain souls, when the patriarch matriarch died and there was no one else like in line, the family kind of crumbled and they lost their identity. I see with the Quartermaines, they're kind of
Yes.
losing their identity. I see it with what's the other family? I see it with the Winters, Hastings, Barber, whatever clan after Neil died. But Neil wasn't a strong enough character even for them. And the thing is Victor and Jack think it's cool, but it's like, when do you set the tone for the next generation? Because the Demiras,
Yeah.
I feel like they're slowly kind of getting there a little bit. Like they're kind of finding their footing a little bit right now. But the other families on soap, they haven't really had that. And it's like you keep propping up older characters, and that's cool. But like you have to remember these, you have to usher in a newer generation of soaps and soap viewers because I feel like they keep writing for the older audiences, and that's cool. But you're not getting new viewers because I will
Right.
say this is like for me when I've watched the soaps with like friends and loved ones, they're bored, and I can blame them because the episodes that I watch, I'm like, damn, this is boring. Like, how do you just and it's like just presenting okay material is not okay. You should bring it every day, every episode, because that's the chance you're gonna catch new viewers. In these doctors' offices, if they're playing the soaps, they always got to think about these things, and they don't. I don't think they really think enough to capture that. But you have to
Mhm.
capture the next generation of your characters and the viewers. And I hope with the
I,
Gates they do that well. That's my hope. I hope.
I'm hoping that they do well. Um, but I do think that as it pertains to YNR, is that we have I'm never gonna fault YNR for being slow. It always has been. It didn't get this far doing what all the other soaps did.
That's true.
My thing about why, like I said last night, what YNR is missing is classical filming, is classical music. That's what is missing. So it does not feel like you don't have the feeling that anything is actually happening because you don't hear the music that
And it's
goes
like you don't know
along
what to
with
feel.
right. You don't hear the
Yeah.
right type of music to know like that, oh, this person is actually plotting.
Right.
Like you just see people saying stuff and then they just cut into the next scene.
Right.
Like there's not a build up of what should actually be happening. You know what I'm saying? Like Claire, we didn't even know Claire was plotting against Nikki until she actually I guess till she actually kidnapped her or tricked her or whatever the hell it was that she did. I can't remember what she did. But soaps used to like have characters by themselves talking about certain things by themselves
Mm-hmm.
or giving you the picture that, oh, something ain't right with this girl.
Or when
Something.
they would show, they would like do the voiceovers and their thoughts, and we sitting there like, I wonder what I'm gonna do next. Like you would hear the voiceover thoughts. They don't do
Yeah,
this stuff
like,
anymore.
and I think
I miss that.
I think what's really happening is that a lot of them don't know how to do it without making it look like it's the 80s.
Hmm.
Like they don't know how to do it without making it look cheesy.
GH did it
So
well though. I feel like in early '06 because I remember when they used to have the text message kept on. It would go the da-na, 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 like they did those subtle music back in the day with GH.
yeah,
GH was
yeah.
great in the music department on that from like
You know
'06
what's
to 10.
you know what's
Go ahead.
funny about GH? I feel like the way GH films now is the way YNR used to film. Like GH looks rich. Like GH looks fucking like it has money everywhere.
You know what they remind me of? They
Versus
remind me of All My Children right now. The writing actually.
GH.
Yeah.
Well, not okay. So I can see that. But what I'm saying is like the filming of GH
Okay. Yeah.
looks like YNR, how YNR
Right.
used to do in the 90s. Now the filming of YNR looks how All My Children used to film. I feel like
Really.
YNR is too bright. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. All My Children was bright. All My Children was bright. You're right. They were really bright. They were.
YNR, yeah, YNR used to be like a darker mood. It used to be mood lighting.
Yeah. You're right about that.
It didn't have like it's just bright now. Like
Right.
it always looks like they're in the daytime. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Right.
YNR used to be shot like it was always nighttime, or like when they would go inside Gina's or the athletic club, it looked like it was like it didn't even look like you could afford the athletic club unless you were the Newmans or the Abbots. You know what I mean? Like the only way you gonna get into the athletic club is if you work there because that's
Right.
all
And
you
Victor
you know what
used
I
to do the
mean?
boxing back in the day.
Right. Right. We don't have like and when you and the only time that you would know that it was daytime is that if they were outside on the ranch.
Hmm.
That's the only way, or if they was outside in a car or whatever the case may be. Now I just I'm not saying that YNR has bad um camera footage. It's just more so they're not it's not the YNR that we all once knew. And it doesn't mean that they have to continue to be what William J. Bell had, but
Hmm.
you're not even trying to remain close to it.
Like playing to their strengths.
Right. Like they don't even have to write a good story. It like I'm gonna be honest. If if the Jordan story was filmed better, the story would look better.
I agree with that.
It would feel better. It would feel like Jordan was a darker character than what she actually is. Because a lot of this about what of how of how YNR is writing, it's not like the writing ain't great, but the
The
the the
production of it.
the production is not hitting the way that they
Yeah.
think it is.
I agree with you. I mean, there was a time where during the pandemic they showed a class episode of YNR and it was Michael Baldwin. I think he was in jail or something, or like he was going through a psychotic time on YNR, and it was very dark. The tones, those subtleties do play a role, like play a role in how we see and experience the storylines. Because I miss those moments when soaps would, like for example, on One Like to Live, where Gigi had a little baby Sierra Rose in her arms, and she was standing on top of the icicle, and then the icicle started to do a little crack and was very darkly limbed. So you really
Mhm.
felt it. And then she fell through with the baby, and it was like, oh
Yeah,
snap!
yeah,
And
yeah.
kept you on the edge of your
Like
seat, you know. And you're right; those subtleties from that kept you on the edge of your seat. When she felt the icicle, I was like, oh, she's gonna be right. And then she's like, ah! And she fell through the baby. It was like next on the next one, Like to Live. I was like, oh snap! It kept you on the edge
like
of your seat, you know. So
yeah, like even days. when they did the whole possession storyline, it didn't hit the same because it was too bright.
Yeah, it didn't have that darkness. Yeah, like they did from the
It was
90s.
too
Yeah,
bright. Like when the 90s, like I think every scene seemed like it was shot at night.
it
Like
did actually.
majority
It
of the
did.
show seemed like it was shot at night. So we was always in Marlena's bedroom.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're just not YNR, like I said, not in none of the soaps are good, but GH has the better filming.
Yeah.
I think Days has the better writing.
Hmm.
B&B just looks good because I mean the
Yeah.
owner of it is rich, so but it has the worst writing of all the soap operas.
I think it does too. And
It
I
is.
think because oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying it's written like a cartoon. It's not written. It's not written like I'm like, is this on the Disney Channel? What's happening?
I mean, Passions was written better than B&B. I don't know if that's saying much at
Yeah, that's.
times.
But at least I can say Passions didn't start off trying to be the greatest soap opera of all time.
That's true. That's
It
true.
came in as what it was. It left. It came. It left the way it came in.
And
You know
you
what I
gotta look at
mean?
and you gotta look at too the fact that Passions Would Like to Live All My Children were brought back. They were given a second life. That says something,
Yeah.
I think, to a testament to what those shows were. Because the thing about it is, like, each soap has a strength. We know that All My Children was like the glitzy, glamorous soap with ABC. One Like to Live was about diversity. They had these really diverse storylines. They really played to that strength. You know, General Hospital was a mom thing. Wine was a business soap. B&B Fashion World. As Well Turns is about professionals and their lives, and the Guiding Light had like the religious undertones a lot to the show. And
Yeah.
you know, each of them played to their strengths. I think GH played to it the best. I hated about Boozy Years, but now I realize I love them because that was when it
Well,
was an
you,
event.
we didn't know how bad these soaps could get.
We didn't know. Forgive
That's
us for we did not know. We did not know. Forgive us.
right.
We did not know. I would take it back because the Bob Boozy days, it was an event. I mean, I remember when they did the Metro Court hostage, and you know, Jerry Jacks pulls out the gun, and Sammy says, "How badly do you want to be Employee of the Month?" And she puts the phone down. You know,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
scenes, those are powerful scenes we had back in the day. Now it's not. It's not. I think they're trying now to be something that they're not.
So let me ask you,
Yeah.
what was your favorite soap opera of all time?
One Life to Live,
Okay, One
and
Life to Live was good.
you know, I feel like One Life to Live gave the balance. They really did storylines that you didn't see coming. They really played to their strength, which is the whole diversity thing. But not only that, it's like they had ways of keeping me on the edge of my seat. You know, there was a time in One Life to Live where Blair went out the window, and then there was oh wait, she went out the window. And I like it when soaps have those high stake moments sometimes where you don't know if their character's gonna live, and you almost have to suspend belief. And even though you might know for sure, like, I think they're gonna survive, but they do it in a way where you really don't know. And I told you there was an episode where Gigi Marasco had her sister Stacy's child with her in the hand, and she was an icicle, and it was a snowstorm, and you heard the
Yeah,
icicle crack, and you didn't think what happened. When she fell through the baby, I was like, did they just do that? And my friends were watching at the time. I think we were like middle school, high school. She was watching the time. She was watching her sisters, and I told her watch One Night to Live is a good show. And they're like, oh my god, we got to figure out what's gonna happen on Monday. So One Night to Live to me had a good balance. It to me it always brought in a different perspective. Like Carvalhotti wasn't as cartoonish back then. He kind of was developing his cartoonish ways a little bit. I saw like those remnants
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But what One Night to Live, what I liked about, like I said, is that the storylines are fresh. I felt like these were real people that I would know somewhat in real life, like R.J. Gannon. You felt that, you
yeah.
know. And we had a black villain back then. We don't have those as much. It's like black people can't. I like the soap. I want to see the black people can be different things in the soaps. But One Night to Live was one of that. And then All My Children to me was like ABC's version of The Young and the Restless. It was a bit slower. They were really big on dialogue amongst the characters. They're really big on setting the scene, and they're really big on making you really connect with the characters. GH just came like an event. It was like a movie. It was like Sopranos. You were gonna get in, get out, your fix. There was gonna be an explosion, or someone's gonna get shot that week. It was a given. It was a
So can I just say I hated All My Children?
Oh god.
I
Why?
hated it. I hated
Why?
it. Um, okay, so a few issues that was for me.
Okay.
There was always like I was big into the filming of soap operas. I always thought just ABC soaps always looked ashy. It's like, and what I mean is like they always had like this haze over the show.
Okay, I see what you
It,
mean. I see what you mean.
it
That's what I
had
loved about it though.
huh?
That's what I loved about it though. I thought this made it feel natural.
No, it didn't look clear. It looked like it was
Right.
always like this haze, like this fog over the show. And
Right.
then I always felt like the audio wasn't always right. I always felt like the audio on the shows were like the music was louder than the person talking, so I could not hear everything that the person was saying.
Hmm.
Um, I also thought all my children looked the cheapest, and it just looked country. Like it looked, and what I mean is like not country in the sense of like you can't have like country characters on the show. What I'm saying is Adam Chandler to me did not give Victor Newman.
They weren't glamorous enough for you.
Right. Yeah. They weren't glamorous enough. And you're wanting me to believe this about this man. I'm just like somebody just put Adam Chandler in a box. Like what are we doing? But don't get me wrong, that doesn't take away of me not understanding why people love the show. But I feel like I was
Right.
just
Right.
very spoiled watching Young and the Restless and
That's
Bold and the
first.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was my first introduction to like what I knew a soap opera was. So like I'm always comparing it to what I saw
That
Young and the Restless as.
I will say this though. Even though I loved All My Children Like to Live, B&B had a power in the way it was written back in the day. Because when I first started
Mhm.
watching, it was when Stephanie threw Jackie up the staircase. And she threw her out there. She's like, "Let go of me, Jackie!" And she threw her off. I was like, "Oh my god, Jackie!" And I was like, it was, it was a power. Like every scene in B&B was intense. I don't know if it was because of Stephanie that made it feel intense, but
That's probably what
I
it
felt it.
was.
Yeah, that's really what it was. That's really what it was. That's really what it was.
Because
It's
we're
like,
seeing that was the reason that it was good.
yeah, it was like the intensity of it. And I was like, my goodness, you could really feel. Now, Guiding Light was like an after school special. That's how it felt. Guiding Light felt like an after school special at three
Well, it did,
o'clock.
yeah, it did come on after school.
It did. Now, see, they and GH came out at the same time, and GH felt like a movie, like you would like something you'd watch in the movie theaters. But then Guiding Light felt like an after school special, and Guiding Light was more of like the PG. Not even, I'm not saying PG for Procter and Gamble. It really was a PG soap. They didn't even do like sex scenes or anything like that in Guiding Light.
You know, now that you say it, I didn't even think about it, but you're right.
Them and
I
Azrael Turns
just
didn't do it. They were more conservative. They were more conservative.
Yeah, they
So
were more conservative. I like I didn't even think about, like when I was watching them, I didn't even think about like the sex part of the thing, like nobody's having sex. I think my biggest issue with ABC soaps were that it was a bit too like General Hospital. I just could not understand the mafia thing. I was just like, why is it so mafia heavy? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying the mafia can't be there, but it just felt so weighed down
but you know why
by
that was though, right? Because you know when they General Hospital first started, it was about the hospital, it was very more subtle, and then the shows didn't get canceled. So they did the whole adventures and secret agent storylines. And I think
Mm,
when the 90s came around, they couldn't do that anymore because like, okay, we can't keep doing that no more. So I think now the mob thing came in. And I think now we're in another era of GH, but they don't know what the hell to do now at this point.
got you. Okay. I mean, I
I think
understand
that's what's playing out.
I got you. They were trying to stay alive.
Right, right. So it's like, they did the whole secret agent thing. All the soaps are doing the kings and queens and princess thing in like the mid 90s, late 90s,
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
doing that. And General Hospital kind of plays that strength, but then they ended up in the mob era. And the thing is now the mob era is over, and now they kind of just don't know really what to do. It's clear to me. Like they're having an identity
And
crisis. Like,
that
are we
and
all my
that and I
children? Are we GH? What are we?
and I think I saw that early. I saw that years ago where it was so like Sunny was kind of the Victor Newman of GH,
Hmm.
but I felt like he was too. I never understood the rooting factor for him because
Me neither.
he wasn't a good man, and then putting him and Carly together. I'm like, so you're gonna put two annoying characters together? Like they both are annoying. And I really feel like, if I'm being honest, I feel like One Life to Live should have been the last one standing.
I agree with you. I agree. But
Because
why? Tell me why.
it looked better. The characters were written better. Um, to me, it had more of a place to go versus um All My Children GH, because I feel like All My Children was too Erica Kane heavy.
Mhm.
And she didn't grow. She was just very childish her whole life. And I feel like Sunny is kind of the Erica Kane
Of
of
GH.
GH. Like, you
Yeah,
know
they
what I
were
mean?
ensemble cast. They were ensemble cast. Those two shows. It was all
Yeah,
about like one particular character or two particular characters. Like
right.
It was Zach and
And
Kendall and
that's what
Erica.
I'm
And yeah,
saying. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. It's like I don't feel like if I don't see Victor today, my show is all of a sudden not a factor anymore. Like I
right.
feel like Young and the Restless can still move on if Victor didn't show up today, or if
I
Nikki
agree.
didn't show up today. I just feel like when it comes to GH, the moment that Sunny is no longer there, it's gonna lights is out.
And
The-
the presence is felt too deeply because I feel like with those shows, like I call it the triumphant trio. You had Sonny, Carly, and Jason. It's like they revolve the show on them so much that like now at this point, it's harder for a different kind of setup because you literally like it's not an ensemble cast. And One Night to Live was, even though Vicky was like the protagonist, you didn't feel like sometimes she wouldn't be in the scene for a week. There were times I didn't notice that she wouldn't be there for a week, but you didn't feel like it was like impacting all the storylines as a result
right.
of them not being there.
And Vicky, the one thing I can give to One Life to Live and Days was that they did not mind making their heroines villains,
Yeah,
because you know what I mean. That is one thing I had to give to them, is that they were okay with letting Marlena get possessed, letting Vicky DID just run wild. you know, just
right.
now I think now on One Life to Live, I do think it was a bit too much once her daughter started becoming
Yeah,
DID.
she had the four personalities. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was just saying, everybody can't play that.
right. You see,
And
that's the thing too. Go ahead.
only Erica Slazak was like, you have to be a powerhouse in order to play like five different characters, and they all seem very different from the original.
Now, apparently, she spent time with people who actually did have DID. She actually spent time in real therapy sessions, stuff like that. Apparently, back in the day, and that's how she really prepared for that role. That was what they said. So she really had that firsthand kind of training with that. Because I do feel like I agree with you in the sense of like I do like that they're not afraid to have their heroines kind of go there because it's like I feel like sometimes with soaps like maybe even just pretend to kill a character for a day. Like just pretend to kill Sunny for a week. Like Nixon Falls was kind of that, but not really. We still didn't get that, and I wanted that
He
because my
was
thing
still,
is like,
yeah,
go ahead.
he was still there. He was still there.
And it's like they
Um,
couldn't let us forget that, like just forget that with Nixon
but I
Falls
think they had a good um,
setup.
setup with him and Nina,
They did.
and they dropped the ball, because I don't care what Nina did. I'm like, so we about to be mad at Nina because they went to jail for something they actually did?
Right, right.
That's what you did. You mad because she told on you. That no. And
Nixon Falls had so much potential too. Go ahead.
that's one of the reasons why Carly needs her own Carly. And I feel like that's who Nina was to Carly. Like Nina is how you make everybody else feel. You know what I mean? Like
Reflection.
this is like I remember watching a scene because I have not invested like a lot of time into watching GH,
I don't
but
blame you.
I will go watch scenes to just kind of get a understanding of a character.
Hmm.
I remember watching Carly throw um Robin's AIDS in her face.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was disgusting. And I'm like, I don't know how y'all are allowing this woman to walk around on this show, the character.
Hmm.
Laura Wright plays Carly very well,
Yeah, she
but
does.
the character of Carly is disgusting to me. Like I don't like her more than I don't like Phyllis. Like I didn't think that there was a female character that I could dislike. Like it would only make sense to just make Carlin a full blown villain.
Like she thinks she's a Blair Kramer, but she's really a Phyllis Summers. That's what's really happening here.
I don't even feel like she's like Phyllis and Carly are similar, but I feel like I still sometimes find myself feeling bad for Phyllis. Sometimes, not all the time. In my Whitney Houston voice, sometimes. Not all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But Carly, I never feel bad for her. I never feel bad for her. Like I want every possible bad thing to happen to Carly. I want everything to happen to Carly. Like I want you to lose your kids because you make me sick. Like Carly
Right.
makes my stomach turn. Like she is such a vile character.
And everybody's
Her
scared of her on
and
GH.
huh?
And everybody's scared of her on GH.
Yeah, this is that I the way that she just parades herself around. And then like I just don't really see any growth from the character from the first day she came on GH to now. Like she's been just vile her whole time on the show. And it's just hard to watch. It's very hard to watch Carly because the way she it's not sometimes it's not even what she says. Sometimes a lot of times it's the things she does. She walks up into people's offices, busts in the room, busts up in your car while you sleeping. She in your bedroom. She just has no boundaries. She has no boundaries. She know that you could be in labor and she'll be trying to get information out of you knowing that you're in labor. Like this is the kind of stuff that makes me sick with her.
Yeah.
You don't know when enough is enough. And this is why I root for Nina because Nina is Carly's Carly.
She takes
You
her own
you
medicine.
yeah, you don't like how Nina is and how she doesn't think about anybody else but herself. Carly, you do the same thing.
And you know the biggest
You
thing
do
too is that I felt like Robin represented who Carly wanted because Robin is the only other person besides Sunny's kids that have both the hearts of Sunny and Jason. She's the only other woman that has both their hearts, right?
Mhm.
And Carly, I think, always kind of wanted to be in Robin's position, right? But she never could be. And it's like Robin was everything that Carly wasn't. She was adored by the Quartermaines. She's beloved by all the town. And that's something that Carly could never get, you know? And
Yeah.
she's lived portions of Carly's world, raising her son, all those different aspects. So I feel like that's always what Robin represents. And then she was friends with Brenda, of all people, which I believe is the love of Sunny's life. I still believe it,
Yeah.
even though she's done that. I believe it. Because if you
Yeah.
think about it too, every woman that Sunny's been with has pretty much been a Brenda replicate in a
Yeah.
sense. That
Yeah.
high maintenance woman.
Yeah. And to me, Carly is trash. And Carly can't compete with Brenda. Brenda don't have to do nothing but walk in. And Carly is about to lose it because she cannot compete with Brenda.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will say this, like I do root for GH in a weird way. Like it's not my favorite soap, and it would never be. Um, but I do root for that. I root that they find a balance because I'm gonna be honest. Jason, Carly, Sonny, that's over, and they need to cut it. They need to find a way to just demolish that whole thing because it's too much. It's too much of the same type of characters, and like Sonny and Jason are not the same. But Jason, I think my issue with Sonny is that he never suffers alone. It's always
Yeah.
like, well, we did this to try and save you. Like he don't need saving.
He
Trust
doesn't.
me, he don't need saving. And the way he beat up Dex, yet Dex is thinking about Christina and the baby. I'm like, who cares? Go and tell on this man.
You know what I hated about that storyline is when Anna said, "This is not the right time to put Sunny away," and I'm like, "So when
When
is?"
is? That's what I'm saying. Y'all done had like 30 years. Like
It's like, when is the right time to put him away? Like, when does it
I just
exist
I
for this
just feel like
show?
all of those little side remarks about saying this is not the right time to put Sonny away is like telling the audience Sonny ain't going nowhere.
And honestly,
That's
they still could have put him in jail. We just could have seen it played out on screen. I've been okay with that.
I
I'm
I
totally okay
don't
with that.
I don't think the way Sonny and Carly and Jason rule that show, I don't think there's enough space for me to feel like I need to watch General Hospital ever again. It's too
Wow.
bogged down. It's too bogged down. I haven't watched General Hospital in a month, and I don't even care about watching it. Like it's too bogged down with because no matter what's going on, Sonny and Carly are somehow going to be involved. They're going to find out information. They're going to find out somebody's business. They're going to be the savior of something. Everybody has to bow down to Carly. Everybody has to bow down to Sonny. We supposed to feel sorry for Sonny because his meds are being messed with. No, just throw them all in the trash so he can just die. I just don't like Sonny. I don't
I
like
think what's
Sonny. I don't like
weird.
Carly.
I think what's weird about the Med storyline is like Sonny's behavior is supposedly erratic, but this is someone who kills people for a living. So isn't that naturally already erratic behavior in my mind?
I
It's like
mean,
it's a
he's
weird.
always. I mean, he's like he's always been erratic to me.
Right. Same.
Like the moment that somebody does something that he doesn't like, he's plotting against them. Dex ain't really do nothing to Sonny. And he goes and says, I want to be a cop. He ain't even tell on you. He didn't, do anything to you to make you feel like you needed to be shielding yourself from getting caught or found out by the cops. Yet you're making it your business to make him your enemy when he hasn't even done nothing for you to be like. I just don't get it. And then the other thing that bothers me about GH is Michael. Michael,
Good old Michael Quartermain.
mm,
That's a good
he
looking
doesn't act like
man.
huh?
That's a good looking man.
He look all right. And now it's what is his name? He's the best looking man. Um, oh my God, what is his
Who is
name?
it?
Portia.
Eli from Days?
No, Portia's man.
Oh, Curtis.
Yes,
Okay, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Go ahead. We're gonna say that. Go ahead. Sorry, we're gonna say.
but Michael, this whole thing, like, how do you? AJ is his dad,
Mm-hmm.
but they just act like Sonny ain't killed nobody. You
Twice.
killed him twice. You killed this man's biological father, and it's just
Twice.
kind of like And it's just like, oh well, we didn't like him anyway. And the way Carly, all those years, the way she tried to keep him away from Michael, I don't care what nobody says. You lay down and had a baby by that man. He is the father. He had every right to fight for his child. I don't care how bad of a man he was. He apparently he wasn't bad enough for you to like. I couldn't understand, why did you want Jason and Sonny to play a daddy to Michael, but not want AJ?
You want the
Your
mobster,
choice,
the hitman, the mobster, the hitman.
right? Your choice in men are trash. Like if Carly was really about having the best father for her children, you wouldn't have laid down and had a baby by any of these men. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like you want to talk about who's terrible and how you just, when I tell you, Carly has Carly has given me trauma. Carly has given me trauma, and I don't even watch GH like that. But I remember when I first saw her and how vile she was in '97. I was just like, they really trying to make her Jill Abbott.
Yeah.
They was really trying to make Carly the Jill of GH. But Jill was vile, but Jill had more of like a. I can understand why Jill did the things that she did,
Right.
because when her and Catherine first met each other, Catherine was not nice to Jill.
Yeah, she was not. She wasn't. She
She
wasn't.
was terrible to Jill, and to and Jill already had, she wanted riches, she wanted all those things, and she begged to do Catherine's hair and
But that was the
nails.
old Jill, the
That was
the
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 old
one played by
Jill. Yeah,
Brenda Dixon.
yeah. I'm talking
Because
about. I'm saying that.
the character changes based on who's playing it. I feel like that's how I feel. The character really changes based on who's
Yeah,
playing.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Brenda's portrayal to me, before she started getting real, like, how are you, old bat? before
Yeah,
before she
yeah,
became that, she definitely played into like that whole, I have I have riches in my eyes, but I'm a timid girl. I don't really know how to ask for this. I don't really know how to do this. And like, I could understand, like, Jill to me did not start off as a terrible person.
right. That's
And
true.
I think that's what makes the difference with Jill. There were things that happened that caused her to not like Catherine, but you still rooted for Catherine, and you also like Jill.
Yeah,
Like, you didn't completely hate Jill. You just hated that Jill would do the shit that she would do, how she would do it. But Carly is one of those characters. She's so polarizing. You either love her or you hate her. And I feel like people who love Carly are probably trash people themselves. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can love a person like that if you don't see something in them that reminds you of yourself.
right, right, right. All right.
You know,
So
like,
now, oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Say that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, people, like, when it comes to Sharon, like, Sharon is my girl. I will ride with Sharon no matter what. And people are like, why would you ride with Sharon? She's trash. I'm like, Sharon's not trash.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't like
Oh,
Sharon.
is it from those years where they wrote her when she burned the Newman Ranch? I act like those years don't
Yeah,
exist. They don't exist to
yeah.
me.
But I think also, like, Sharon is a good girl, but she just doesn't. Sharon is kind of like Rachel Corey. She don't always make the best decisions, but she is a good person at heart. Like not everything is about um her own selfish gain. I think there was just those years that she got tired of being the good girl, like, and not getting, like, Phyllis really set that tone. Phyllis and Nick set that
Mhm.
tone for her to go buck wild pretty much, because she gave her life to Nick. And then you cheated on this woman.
I thought you were about to say gave her life to Christ for a second.
No, not at all.
Or sorry, hear
Not
that? Go
at all.
ahead.
She gave her life to Nick, and then you cheat on this woman when her daughter, as soon as her daughter died, you're in somebody else's bed. That's I think that to me was, I can deal with her kind of going crazy around those times,
Mhm.
because it's not something you just get over. I can understand her liking Adam because he didn't pretend to be a good man the way Nick sometimes pretends to be a good man. But Nick sometimes ain't always a good man. I think I'm looking at what's not being said on soap operas. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah.
when I watch a character, I'm not watching I'm watching the show and I'm watching what they do, but I'm also watching their I'm looking at history, and I'm also seeing why they did what they did, because although Sharon went crazy for a little while, I'm understanding that Nick will always be the love of her life. But
Yeah.
Nick broke her heart time and time again. And when Adam came along, Adam came in as who he was. He didn't try to pretend like he was some great man. And I think that's what made her like Adam, was that he was always honest about
Who
who
he
he
was.
was.
But see, that's the
Whereas
thing
Nick,
too. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I just said this is my thing. Like, I don't understand why a lot of people, why our viewers are confused as to why Victor treats Adam the way he does. Because, and see, this is the thing. I feel like with recast, we associate now different qualities with the character. When to me, they're all the same. Because to me, I knew Adam as a person who threw Ashley down the staircase, gaslighted her, slept with what's her name, the housekeeper, Estella's nephew, to get out of jail because I was his lawyer. I remember that Adam. I still remember all those things.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm still comprised of all those things in my mind. Adam, when he injected the poison in his eyes, that fake poison in his eyes, pretending he was blind, you
yeah.
know. So to me, I still remember all those things, regardless of who's playing the role. So to me, it's all one.
It's all one, right?
It's
Your
all
your
one.
character, the character is the character, no matter who's playing the role.
Right. But I think some people separate it because I feel like sometimes what I see the writers do is that I feel like they change the character based on who's playing it. So for example, um, if you notice Kristen DeMera on Days of Our Lives, we have Eileen Davidson and then Stacey Hyduck. When Eileen Davidson plays Kristen, her best friend is Jennifer Devereaux. When Stacey Hyduck plays Kristen, her best friend is Lonnie. I noticed these parallels. I don't know if
Yeah,
you ever noticed this. They changed
no,
the
no,
character
it's
completely,
true.
even the history.
It's true, and I think Days, is probably one of the soaps that I've watched where they've had the most um
Recast?
recast. Yeah, because I the only reason why I started watching Days was because back in 2013 when Eileen Davidson came back to the show, because I used to hear about Kristen. Like Kristen was wild, and
Was
knowing that she was coming back, I was like, okay, I got to watch the show. I got to see what's going on, and I think Stacey Hydu does a good job of playing Kristen, but this I don't think her character can be long term.
because she's a villain.
Yeah, because they're trying to like ground her into
And it's
being
weird.
one. Yeah, and it's
It's
like
weird.
unless you make her entirely Stefano. That's my like. We can have a matriarch be like, if we can't have Andre or Tony, make her the one, because she's more like Stefano than EJ is.
Right, right, right.
Like, I feel
That's
like, and it makes sense for her to have a badass daughter. Her daughter is terrible, and
wait.
it tracks. It makes sense. Like Rachel, and one of the things that I don't want them to do is that I want them, when Rachel gets older, I don't want them doing what One Life to Live did to Star. Star was bad growing up.
She was. She
And then
was.
they tried to turn her into a heroine, and I did not like it. I hated
Okay.
it.
You felt like it was a 180.
Yeah, because I'm like, that ain't who that little badass girl. That little girl was bad. And I just want, my thing with Rachel is that I do like, every child needs to understand who their parents are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do want there to come a time where Rachel realizes, oh shit, my mom aided me in my bad behavior.
Right.
Or oh my God, my mom locked Marlena up in the secret dungeon, or whatever it's called, the secret room. Or just realizing, oh shoot, my mom kept me from my father purposely.
Yeah.
Like, that needs to happen when she gets older, not now, but when she grows up, she needs to have a revelation like, my mom has not been the greatest person, but have her recognizing that when she does bad things, who's she gonna call? Her
Right.
mama,
Her mother.
to help her do it.
You know, that reminds me of is Dolan mentioned in the comment chat. He mentioned Megan Hathaway Demira, which she was actually thought she was going to be the next matriarch of the Demira. It's like, this is the perfect person. I didn't even know who she was prior, but she had a presence. She had a matriarchal presence for the Demiras
Okay,
when she was on. Go ahead.
I
Say it.
Megan, she was good when they did the whole Salem, was it Beyond Salem thing.
Beyond Salem.
Yes, she was okay for that, but her coming onto the show, I feel like, I don't know what Days does. It's like, whatever character appeared on Beyond Salem, they just don't work on the everyday show. Wendy don't work.
She didn't. That was a disappointment.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the other problem is that they got freaking Clyde just way too. He's
Yeah,
not a villain.
how does he outsmart the Demiras? Demiras got way more access, way
He
more money, way more
country.
resources than him.
He
Yeah.
dumb. He probably vote Republican.
Right.
Like, he, and then, you know what would work. I'm gonna be honest. Clyde would be a better villain if he was racist, if he was homophobic,
Like Ace
blatantly.
Buchanan back in the 80s, One Life to Live.
You know, yeah, but I don't even feel. But you know what? Asa, to me, didn't feel necessarily racist or homophobic. He just felt to me like he just liked things his way, but he didn't have a problem with people, in a sense, if that makes sense. He
Well, I'll
was
say
just,
this. I'll say this for Asa, because so I was watching Classic One Life to Live, and when Clint confronted Asa about keeping him from Maria and Cord, he was like, "Why is it, Pa? It's because they're Mexican, isn't it?" You know. And I remember that scene. I was like, "Oh, they put that in there."
oh yeah, yeah.
They put that in there. But I see what you're saying about Clyde. It would have worked better if he was those things. Because I'm kind
I
of like,
mean,
why do we hate him as a villain? I'm like, I'm not
right,
even clear why.
like if Clyde was just like if he was just walking around and he saw Leo, and I don't know, just kind of make it like where he's like, I'm getting out of here when there are faggots walking in the room. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Just really go there. Like, y'all are not even on network television no more. Just
Right.
go ahead and make him a super racist, a super, and you don't have to use slurs
Right.
to do it. Like he could be like, if um my brain is messed up with names right now.
Who are you
Who
thinking
is
of?
the cop? Who is the cop on Days of Our Lives? The black girl.
Eli? Oh, Lonnie. Lonnie.
Not Lonnie, the one that's on there right
Oh,
now.
Jada. Jada. Jada.
Jada.
Which is Lonnie 2.0 in my eyes sometimes.
Pretty much, yeah. Jada, like she could be the one like arresting Clyde and have him call her something of a racist term. Like, this is how you make this man a villain.
Right.
Like,
And
it's
keep the
not
show interesting.
right. It's not making me feel like, or maybe have him be the one, um, like shoot, what's her name, Chanel or something,
Yeah.
where he's like, or just saying like stereotypes, like, oh, I think women like you should be
Cooking in the
cooking and
kitchen or
cleaning,
something. Yeah. Yeah.
cooking and
Yeah.
cleaning, and making it clear he's not talking about just for a man, but being his maid. Like, I would have him go up to Chanel and say, "Would you like to work for me?"
Let's get it to Sophia.
Yes. And she looks at him and like, look at him crazy, like, what are you talking about? Would I like to work for you? Like, bitch, I'm an heiress.
But I feel like soap viewers today couldn't handle that, even though that's what a real story is. I don't know if
And
they can handle it
that's
because I think of like storylines I would like to live when they did the OPP storyline. I would like to the One Pure People, and that to me was like an amazing story. I feel like it should have been way bigger than what it was, like way more known. And it's like that
yes,
storyline today, when it was a racist arsonist. He was going after Evangeline and Layla because they're black, Nora because she was Jewish, the Vega brothers because they're Hispanic, and then and then that right there, we couldn't have the storyline today.
but I really wish soap operas would stop being concerned about what people are thinking, because let's be real, we have sat and watched some of the worst storylines, and these shows are still on. Like, if I gotta watch it, give me a reason, because sometimes it's not even about the story itself. Sometimes it could be exactly what the person is doing in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this whole thing with Clyde using Ava to
Makes no
I don't
sense
even know
to me.
I don't even know what they were doing. Like, I was just so out of it. I was just like, when is this gonna be over? Like, I'm tired of seeing it. Like, it really could have been, him using her, and I don't know. I just don't even feel like Ava would have even been caught up in anything like this with her being a mob princess herself.
Yeah, it doesn't make
It
sense.
doesn't make
Like she
sense.
can't call nobody.
Right. Like, I
How does
don't
this
get
one
it.
man have all this power over all these people? It just doesn't make sense.
He don't even have money,
Right.
and yet he got all this power. Like, I don't even understand why Roman is not homophobic. Roman seems like the perfect candidate to be a homophobic character.
With the bar and the yeah.
Yeah, like, he he don't strike me as, he don't even interact with Will.
And this is another thing too, which just a quick aside with Roman. I think it's weird that he hired Ava to work at the like he
And
hired the woman who
she
killed his
killed his
father. His
daddy.
father. That's exactly what I thought. I'm like I haven't forgotten this. I remember that plane crash back in '08. I
Oh
remember
my
it.
god.
I remember
I
that
wasn't
plane
even
crash.
watching Days at that time, and I knew that.
Like you
I
hired
was
the woman
just
who killed
like,
your father. Like, yeah, that's what's up.
sometimes I watch Days and I watch it like I don't know a damn thing, because sometimes I don't even retain what happened on the show, because a lot of it just don't even be making sense no way.
Right,
Like, they
right.
they had I feel like Leo should have progressed already.
I feel the same way too. I think they're trying to now. That's what they're trying to give him a romance story, as you can see.
But
How do
he
you feel
should have.
about that?
Well, he should have already been there. I feel like y'all are just too slow with this. Like,
I
I
would prefer
don't
they
like.
kept him with Craig, honestly. Like he could have been the nefarious side to him and Craig, because Craig was the good guy. I felt like there was still something there that could have done with that storyline, in my opinion.
Well, Craig, you said Craig?
Yeah, Dr. Craig
Oh,
Wesley.
yeah. Okay, yeah. That was. Oh my God. That see, I try to forget some of this stuff because it was so bad.
Like there's so much they could have done there with that story. Like, okay, like even if you wanna like even sometimes when I think about because someone just asked about Natalia GH, but even when I think about Brad and Lucas on GH, like you're both the sons of mobsters. Like there's a story there. They brought Miss Wu back. They could have done something there. There was
I
something they could have done
Yeah,
there.
and they dropped the ball with
Miss Wu.
Brad,
Yeah, they did.
Brad
And
and
Brad
Miss
too.
Wu.
They dropped the
Like,
ball. He could have been a mobster. He could have maybe went back with Felix. Maybe Felix got held kidnapped by the Wu family. They could have done something there.
and
They could have
and
done
and,
something.
and the other thing is, I don't feel like they should have made Brad become like a Miss Wu is like that's who he's scared of. That should have been his his
Confidant.
go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should have been his protector, not somebody who like
He was scared of.
yeah, like he was scared of her. And I kind of feel like she didn't really accept him.
Yeah.
They didn't really, they could have made her more of like his protector. That was his, when all else failed, and really just should have made Miss Wu his mother.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that reveal.
Like, why isn't she his mother? And have it to where, like, even if, like, even Miss Wu could be like a tad bit racist herself. Like, I don't want you with a white man.
Right.
Find you a good Asian man. Like, I don't like this whole. I don't like writing soap operas in a feel good place all the time,
Yeah.
because it doesn't. You're supposed to be writing about people's real lives.
It doesn't invoke anything when you write it like that.
Right. You when you write it perfect all the time and nobody has real conflict. Like, who is Natalia?
Natalia is the girl that's with Natalia. Oh, Natalia's Blaze's mom in GH. The Christina storyline.
Oh, I don't think anything about Natalia. I just
Me
don't. I
neither.
don't. I don't think anything about Christina's relationship with, what is her name again?
Blaze, Allison. It's okay.
Blaze.
It just doesn't do anything for me. It's not giving like Maggie and Bianca. It's not giving any of the LGBT storylines I've seen in the past. It doesn't
I
feel I
don't
don't
even
feel
know
anything.
why. I don't.
This
They
comment
should
has been
have
cracking up right here. It says Ava Big Roman, I'm sorry I killed your dad, lasagna. Go ahead.
and according to the characters on Days of Our Lives, it must have been good. 'Cause apparently she can cook.
That's the
But
thing. Like Brad, like there were so many missed opportunities there with Miss Wu, and it's just like there's so much they could have written for him. I feel like, and Miss Wu, like to me, like because we had heard about her for years. We would see the back of her head, we would see the side profile, ears, and now we finally got a
yes,
piece, and then we get nothing.
yes. I, I just want. I want things to be realistic.
Yeah,
Like, you not giving. It's just all of this stuff that happens with these people comes off as like very black and white. Like, there's no in between. Like, we had to go through 2 years of Abigail being dead. Now I'm just like, oh my God, Days. All this killing people, bringing them back, killing them again, and bringing them back. I don't want to do another. presumed death, and then we got to go through another 6 months of them not being Abigail. She's gonna be pretending to be, I don't know,
Gabby with a Y.
Gabby and Sammy, I don't know, somebody else, before we even get the reveal that, oh my God, it's really Abby. She's probably gonna come back as Princess Gina, and I don't need that. I don't want that. They they stick too much in the DID stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They need to let it go, because this whole Bobby Everett thing that's going on is trash. Absolute trash. I do not need. He doesn't even play DID story well. He could have just been Nick Fallon. Just bring him back as Nick Fallon. And all those years that he was gone off the show, he could have just been Nick Fallon married to Jada, and he was
Right.
abusive. We already knew he was abusive.
So let me ask this. Let me ask this as my final question, because I know I do have to go in a little bit next few minutes. But let me ask my final question. Which soap do you feel was the most realistic?
The most realistic. I guess I would have to say GH, because
Out of all the 9 of them, would you say 2? The Divine
you
9,
mean,
as I call them?
okay. I in my head I'm like, we're talking about today, so
Right, those curls. You can include the past ones too. Include them in.
um I would have to say As the World Turns. As the World Turns was the most realistic to me, because they didn't do all of this hooky booky DID
Fantasy
stuff.
stuff. Yeah, they didn't do those
They
kind of things.
they didn't um like even um James Stenback, like he was a terrible person, but
Mhm.
his terrible person was John Dixon. Like there was a bad guy for the bad guy. You get what I'm saying? Like John was a good person to the people he cared about, but he could
Right.
also get down and dirty when he needed to.
Like when you pretend to be blind.
Yeah, like when he pretended to be, oh, that was so good. That was so
I
good.
really believed it too. It's like, even when I was watching, I was like, is he blind? Is
Yes.
he not blind? Like I
And
couldn't even tell.
yes. And the way and those are the type of reveals that we don't get anymore. It's
Yeah.
like even the characters don't even know that this person is playing, that
Right.
he, you know what I mean? Because he saw him hanging around the house. Yeah, and he played it up so good. But I felt like As the World Turns was the most realistic. Um, the rest of them, they were, don't get me wrong, like all of them had a realistic feel to them.
Hmm.
But I do feel like it's not even about like what they did, like in the sense of like supernatural stuff. It wasn't even so much about that as much as it's how the characters were. Like I just couldn't believe that Erica Kane would be 15 her whole life.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I just don't believe that this woman, after all the things that she has accomplished, will still operate in a space of like competing with other women or
Even at that
arguing with,
age.
yeah, like as like Brooke, when she was kind of like, oh girl, I don't care no more. Brooke
Yeah.
got to a point where she was just like, I'm not even
You can
about to
have
argue
him.
with
You
you
can
no
have
more.
Adam. You can have him. You
You
can have
can
all these
have
men.
them, and I'll get them when I want them back.
That's why I love That's why I love the series finale when she goes, Jack, what about what I want? He goes, frankly, Erica, I don't give a damn about what you want. And I was like, you better, you better.
And that's how it should have been a long time ago.
It was like he's finally willing to just put this to bed with her, because I'm like, well, not literally, but like it was so annoying. It was like the thing was Erica Kane, she never grew up, and it was always about her and what she wanted. And it was like when Jack's like, frankly, Erica, I don't give a damn what you want. And she was,
And that
You
And
know.
that's why I keep saying like ABC has that problem. Like they did the same thing with Babe. Babe Babe did all this crap, and yet she's still walking around. I'm sorry, I was poor. I was trash. I'm sorry, I didn't know any better because my mom raised me in a trailer park. It's just constant begging and pleading. Like either be a villain or don't. Don't keep like doing stuff and then expecting forgiveness after doing the bad thing that you did.
Right. Right.
Like
Right.
right now, I'm trying to watch the Baby Switch storyline.
I'm on there too.
Are you
Yeah.
I'm going back and forth between All My Children and Santa Barbara.
Okay, I'm on
So
episode 2 of Santa Barbara. I still haven't caught up since. I'm on episode 2.
I'm on like episode 219 or something.
Santa Barbara was pretty good for myself in the first 2 episodes. It was pretty good.
Santa Barbara is I'm okay. I'm having a hard time. I am, because it does seem a bit like
Well,
Santa Barbara
contrived.
is Santa Barbara is kind of written the way B&B is written now.
Oh Lord. Oh gosh.
Like it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad, but it does feel a bit like it was the passions at that time. Like it was the passions. It was definitely. Um, I don't feel like they live in Santa Barbara because they feel poorer than LA and the other, like what I know as of California.
Right.
But
Right.
so what was your most realistic soap opera?
Okay, so my most realistic one, it would have to be between it's a triple tie here. It's a triple tie. Well, you know what? I do feel like One Life to Live was very realistic in a lot of ways, but if I had to pick a soap outside of it, it would be maybe between As World Turns and Guiding Light, because like I said, they didn't. I felt like it gave me more character development more than anything else. In the other soaps, it didn't play to extravagance. Those two stories, and those are very like the conservative soaps, right?
Mhm.
As Well Turns and Guiding Light, they were very conservative shows, and to me, they felt very realistic in a lot of ways. Guiding Light, when they started doing the choppy YouTube look in the end, I knew it was done. I knew once they did it, it was done, and I was like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
72 years. Thanks for the ride. I
the
appreciate it because I knew
shaky
it
the
was
shaky
done.
cam stuff. No, thank
I
you.
was, I was out.
No,
I was
thank
like, yeah,
you.
this is done. It's like they gave up at that point. It was
Yeah,
done. It was done. One Life
yeah.
to Live was also realistic because I feel like One Life to Live was actually, it really was a balance. You had the Evans family, you had the wealthy lords, you had the Texas Buchanan's thing going on, you had the game, like you had a melting pot, and it all weirdly fused well together. One Life to Live. That was the weirdest thing. It all worked in a way. And I think that was like pretty impressive how they're able to do all of these storylines and still not make it feel like you're still watching the same show. Where at times I watch GH, I do feel like I'm watching like 90s GH and I'm watching Sunny's GH. Sometimes still like the sprinkles of it. And so it was
Yeah.
very interesting how they were able to do that. But As World Turns and Guiding Light were very, you really felt like you were watching small town people on the soap. You really felt
Yeah.
like those two shows. You really felt like they were actually really living in a small town.
So the reason why I didn't say One Life to Live was because they had that whole Eterna thing, and
Right.
like
Okay.
they
Right.
went back in time and they did all of these kind of things.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't say, like, it wasn't that it was bad. It was
Right.
just, that wasn't realistic to me. Whereas like I even put As the World Turns more realistic over Guiding Light, because Guiding Light had, Reva Shane was just kind of, sometimes Reva Shane was all over the place.
Right.
They had her cloned and all kind of stuff, and I was just like, okay, I like my Guiding Light, but I will admit, I I got a bit tired of like Reva constantly going through the ringer. And I was just like, okay, we know she's a popular character, but y'all have got to stop treating her like
Right.
Marlena.
Right. Right. I agree with that. Definitely agree. All right. I know I got to get going, ready to go, but I want to really say I appreciate you being on. I definitely want to have you on another time because it was really, really good. having you on. And we can go on for hours, honestly. I could literally go on for hours at this point. Any final words before we go? Any final words?
I'm gonna say, I don't know if there's any Young and the Restless people watching, or if there's a writer who's ever gonna see this, but you gotta bring Olivia back. And I don't know if you need to pull a recast of Drusilla off of that cliff and have her climbing back up, because we can't keep writing. I'm sorry, but there is no way that Devon or Lily could ever go to Jabot and try to take it over. So
They could
why
not.
why do Billy get to come over and take over the black stuff? Make it make sense. Because that's not fair. That's just not fair. Because if we can't take over Numa Enterprises and Jabot, well, you can't come and take Chancellor Winters. Like
Right, I agree.
it's giving very much um stealing someone's land.
Right. All right, guys. This has been the Soap Sanctuary tonight, guys. I want to thank you guys for coming on. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. And we will see you guys possibly in the next video. Stay behind for a second. I'm going to end the live, but stay behind for a second, Samuel. But we will see you guys possibly on our next video. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right.